profits in your small business? Like many of us, I'm sure you're feeling it. Business is hard. Now more than ever, you need a plan to help your business not just survive, but thrive. I'm Marcia Reiner. I'm a business strategist on a mission. I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees sustainable profitability and guides your growth. I want to share some strategies that I've earned and learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. I'm excited to have my new friend as a guest today. His name is Jason Osborn. Jason is a highly accomplished speaker, coach, and consultant in the fields of digital marketing and mindset. Jason established himself as a life coach back in 2009 and built his business, online personal business development within 18 months of making full-time income. My mouth has stopped working today, so forgive me, guys. We're going to keep flowing through this. So he's built his business with 13 countries worldwide. So following his success, he switched gears and became an online marketing consultant and has become highly sought after coach and advisor. Headhunted by the Rethink Academy in 2018, Jason is a head coach and is steering the company towards becoming the #1 coaching program in the UK. Jason speaks internationally for 26 years now and has had the privilege of sharing on stage with speakers such as Jarek Robbins, Paul Mahoney, Armin Morin, Brian Kotz, Mark Anastasi, Mike Bacchick, and Paul Farrell, and many more. You know what? I'm just going to shoot my mouth, cut it off, tie it, let you talk, Jason, because I can't get 2 words out. So welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, Jason.
Thanks so much, Marcia. I've been there myself.
Well, it's I've been on a couple of calls already this morning, and it just seems to, like, at a certain point your mouth just stops working. So I'm gonna pass the mic over to you a little bit here and ask you a few questions. So you've had quite a bit of experience in the coaching world, and what is the #1 challenge that you find with business owners today and why they can't succeed?
Yeah, sure. Great question. So what we do, just kind of give some background around this, is with the Rethink Academy, we have thousands of clients every year that come through what we do, and several hundred kind of high-end mentoring clients. So we're coaching people all the time through this process. So, this comes through years and years of experience of seeing this. And I started off 13 years ago as a life coach, as you mentioned. And so I've seen a lot of people start online businesses, and whether they're even on an online business or not, it doesn't really matter. But one of the biggest challenges that I see businesses make is they put themselves in what we call a commodity-based market. So they go in and I'll just use life coach because I started off as a life coach. They'll say, "Hey, I'm a life coach." Okay, fantastic, great. So what do you do? Well, I help people reach their dreams. Okay, and who's your target market? Well, I help everybody. And so they get in this commodity-based market. Another really good example of this is personal trainers. So personal trainers, everyone knows where you can find a personal trainer. You go to a gym. And what's the first thing? And once you get past the little kind of introductions, they tell you a little bit about themselves. The main thing people are wanting to know is how much you charge. And so they tell you what their price is, and you go, okay, and what do? You go on to the next personal trainer to find out how much they charge, and you start finding out what's that average kind of pricing, and it's all based on price. And that's where commodity based, when you put yourself in that box, that commodity box, where you're completely competing on price, which, I don't know about you. I don't know most people who want to be competing on price, because all of a sudden it just starts going down and down and down and down. And oftentimes what we find is the people who pay the least are usually the clients that want the most, and they just want everything from you. So what we look at is, how do you create value? You want a value-based proposition on what you do. And so that's there's a lot of things that lead into that, but that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, is putting themselves in that commodity-based market, competing on price, and then they end up putting themselves in a place where they have to go back and get a job because they can't earn enough money because they're competing with the next person who's charging $20 an hour, $15 an hour. And like, well, God, I'd need, 500 clients to survive off of that. So that's the biggest challenge I see.
That's a great point. And I've spoke to that point here as well, is that that race to zero that so many companies go after, unless you're a large conglomerate like a Walmart or an Amazon, you cannot compete on price. And so if you can't compete on price, what's the next opportunity for you? It's to add more value so you can feel comfortable and your customers feel comfortable on that price point that you're going. Another commodity based is, the financial services world, where here in the US, Fidelity and Schwab and all those companies are trying to get you to trade at zero. The small financial advisor who's charging a 1% fee, they can't compete in that world unless they add tremendous value. And I love this conversation because it is truly needed to separate yourself from the pack. So good points on this. So talk to us a little bit more about how you can increase your value. Got any ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can actually go along with the whole financial services element. One of our clients here in the UK, we have what we're called IFAs, independent financial advisors. It's similar to what you were just talking about with, just financial advisor. Well, they're everywhere, right? Everyone knows of exactly. Everyone knows of or knows a financial advisor. And whenever you say, hey, I'm a financial advisor, people in their mind, and this is what a lot of business owners don't understand, whenever you label yourself as something, someone has a preconceived idea of what it is that you do and how you can help them. And so when you say I'm a independent financial advisor, people just go, okay, cool, I know what that is, thanks, and they move on. Or they'll go, okay, well, I know someone, I'm going to go to them.
Or I know 5 or 6 of them. Yeah.
Exactly. And again, what do? They compete on price. So one of the clients that we have is an independent financial advisor here in the UK. He's been in business for about 30 years. So he's very well established, really good at what he does. And so the process that I go through and what we go through at the Rethink Academy with our clients is saying, okay, well, what is that specific thing that you love to do? So what I asked the client is, okay, imagine you have 2 prospects that come and sit down in front of you. Prospect A comes in and tells you, look, I'd like you to help me with these 2 things. Now, because you're a professional, you're smiling on the outside, but on the inside, you're going, oh God, I hate doing this type of work. I can do it, but I hate it.
Right.
But prospect B comes in and they tell you the 2 things that you want them to help you with. And not only are you smiling on the outside now, but you're smiling on the inside. I said, what is that thing that you love to do that makes you a lot of money as well? And right away, he said pensions, which I don't get really excited about pensions. So I was a bit surprised about that answer because pensions, I love pensions. I was okay, well, I wasn't expecting that. Tell me why. Why do you like pensions? He goes, I've been in the industry for a long time and I can help high net earners restructure their pensions so that they can retire 5 to 10 years early. And I was like, okay, now that's very different than you saying I'm just an independent financial advisor. So what we did, because one of the things I also do, I'm a LinkedIn coach and trainer. And so I was showing him what to do on LinkedIn. I said, let's reframe what you do to I help high net earners retire up to 10 years early by restructuring your pensions. Now it's completely different. We got very niche, very specific on who he's helping, what he can help them achieve, and a time frame in which he can help them do that in.
I love it.
In 6 weeks, he earned an additional 30,000 pounds of commissions just by doing that element of it, because he got really specific on who it is that he's wanting to help, how he can help them, and showing the benefits of what he can do for people. So that's what we help people do.
I love that. So coming in and first of all, you're working for the rest of your life and then some, right? You know, it's a long time career. There's nothing worse than having customers that you don't like doing the jobs that you don't like. So why not create yourself as an expert in the job part that you do like and then delegate the rest of it out. So I love how you turn that around and took him from a super highly commoditized industry, and you put him into an expert in the pensions with a benefit that the customer is going to retire early in 10 years, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
really gets people going, I want that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that he gets that coming. So wow, I love that. So what are some of the other ideas that we can do to help, you know, change, or maybe some of the steps that we can do when we're looking at that ourselves? How can we change the way we think so we can attract that ideal customer?
Yeah. Well, one of the first thing to look at, and this is a bit of a process, and it can be a challenging process because we're not taught how to do this, right?
Hmm.
But we go through, and when we work with clients, I'm always asking them, okay, what's that one major outcome? What's that one major result that you're able to help people to achieve? And it can be a challenging process. So if you look at life coaches or personal trainers or anything like that we're talking about, we think in generalities, right? And we just go, okay, well, I can help them achieve their dreams, or if you're a PT, I can help you lose weight. It's like, okay, yeah, I get that, but what's that one thing you're really good at helping people to achieve? So for like a personal trainer, as an example, instead of saying, I can help you lose weight, what you might do is change that and say, I help athletes achieve peak performance within 90 days, as long as that's true. And you can do that, right? Um,
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, if is that the main outcome you're able to help people achieve? Well, that's very different than just generalizing and say, hey, I can help anybody lose weight. So it's that, what's that thing that you're really good at? What's that one major outcome? When it comes to like life coaches and things like that, it's a bit more challenging because you're you're kind of trained to help people. Let's help you achieve your goals. But what you look at is, okay, well, if we're looking at achieving goals, a 20-year-old's goals is going to be very different than someone in their 70s. It's going to be very different than a parent or someone who's single looking for a partner, or a couple looking at relationship goals. I mean, all of a sudden, there's so many aspects of achieving your goal. So as a life coach, what's the specific thing you're wanting people or wanting to help people achieve? Because if it's relationships, then you need to position yourself where, maybe you help rekindle that fire in relationships with couples who've been married for greater than 5 years.
Mm.
Now you're really specific and you're able to speak to your target market, because when you say what you do, which needs to be one sentence, it's not a big long paragraph that you talk about, but when you say what you do, you want people to self-identify and go, oh yeah, that's me. And
I
if you
think
can do that, that's the key.
And I think that's what I'm pulling out of this conversation, that you have a couple of key elements when you're when you're helping someone separate themselves from the commodity market out there. And it's really coming down to, I help who, right? Achieve something um, quickly or at this timeline. So do I have those three components down? Is there another component maybe I'm missing? But I think it's that ideal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's exactly it. So who, and the more specific you can be, the better. Um, so the result, the benefit, and I like to say tangible benefit, because the more tangible
To
you can make it
them, to
to your
them.
client.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the
Okay.
tangible benefit to the client? Like, what's that outcome? So, for instance, if I was working with you, Marcia, what would I achieve after working with you? What's that one major tangible result that I'd get from you? And then either in a time frame or through a methodology. So sometimes,
Like that.
time frames aren't always, you can't always fit it in a time frame, but you can put it inside of a methodology. So we at Rethink have the Rethink method, which each letter stands for something. And so you go through the Rethink method, And what that does is it creates intrigue, and it also it creates confidence, because people know you have a system, you have a
Mm,
methodology to help people walk through. And it, as soon as you put that in, it's amazing when you don't have like a system or methodology. One, it's hard to explain to people how you walk people through that process, because you're trying to just make it up, you know.
right.
Where if you've got a method, you can say, okay, R stands for right niche, right? And so we help you find your right niche. E's for evaluate avatar. And you go through each one of those things, and people go, oh yeah, that makes sense. And that's what you want people to do through that. And if you can put a
I
time
love
frame
it.
on it, it's even better.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So, so with this kind of method, what I guess why aren't people using this now? Why aren't people doing this more often? Why are they trying to cast a big net out there and get everybody who's breathing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, from what I found in my experience of working with people over the last 13 years in this, I found that it comes down to fear.
Mm,
Okay. And so what happens is, if you don't have a steady stream of clients or leads coming to you already, then you tend to cast your net really wide, because you're hoping that it just catches anyone that might want to work with you. And so one of the things, and because of the way that LinkedIn is set up, this is you can go on LinkedIn, and people have probably seen this, but what I see oftentimes is the all things to everybody headline on
mm.
LinkedIn. So I'm a life coach, hypnotherapist, strategist, horse whisperer. And you're like,
And you sell vitamins, right?
exactly. It's like, well, you do what? Like, how does it's so, and that's when people go, well, I can do everything. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. There's a desperation that comes off with that.
Ah.
Do you know? And
And
people are,
yeah, and people see that, right?
oh
People
yeah,
feel that the when you're desperate and you're saying, I can do anything to everybody, then the client feels that, and then they push back, right?
yeah, absolutely. They push back because it's like, well, gosh, I can feel that desperation coming off of you. As soon as you get into that lane, if people that have a steady stream of clients and leads coming to them, they're not worried about trying to attract that one-off person that might need this one thing that you potentially could help people with, you know.
Right.
Now the cool thing about it is this: the more specific you get in what you do, there will actually be other people that come to you and say, oh, well, do you also help maybe people in this industry? Or,
Mhm.
you know, let's just take the pensions person. Okay, well, you help with pensions, but I'm actually looking at doing some certain types of investments. Do you help with that as well? Because you're showing you have an expertise, people are curious, like, oh, well, can you help me in this area as well?
Right.
And if you can, of course, I mean, an IFA, they can help out with a lot of different areas of finance. And so you still are able to help other people, but getting in that lane, getting really specific with it, what you're able to do, people can self-identify. They'll raise their hand and they'll go, oh, that's me. So if we go back to the personal trainer, if I'm an athlete and I see someone saying, I can help you they can help me achieve peak performance in 90 days, I'm going to instantly go, okay, that's me. I'm interested. I'm an athlete. They can help me reach peak performance in 90 days. Okay, I want to know more. I at least want to check them out, you
Right.
know? And so
Right,
that's
because
what
a
you're wanting
peak
to do.
athlete wouldn't come in and go, "Oh, well, I want to lose weight." No, it's not about losing weight. You may lose some weight in the process, but it's about getting your performance in line. And I
Yeah.
think that that's so important that so many business owners forget to do, that they live in that fearful mode of, "Oh, I need clients right now, so I'm going to cast that big net out and hope that everybody comes in," when in turn they're shooing people away. And
Yeah.
if they can come in and use that methodology of who my ideal client is that I want to work with, right? I'm making the decision here, and that we have a tangible, actionable outcome that is benefited them. And then we have this cool method like your Rethink Academy uses. I think this is the way to really separate ourselves from everybody else out there, which is what every single solitary business owner needs to do, because you are not the one person in the world that can do what you do. There are many. So in creating this type of designation for yourself and creating the language for helping your business, you're going to be attracting the exact same person that you want, right? Love
Yeah.
this. This is so good.
Yeah.
This is good. All right. So tell me a little bit more about Rethink Academy. Go through the acronym again for Rethink. You started
Yeah.
it, but then you left us hanging.
Yeah, absolutely. So rethink. So it's right niche. So going back to kind of what we're talking about now is what's that right the niche that you're in, or for all my fellow Americans, niche. So find that right niche or niche. I live in the UK now, so my words are all over the place. So your right niche or niche. E is for evaluate your avatar. So, and this is where you start fine tuning. Okay, well, who is my ideal prospect? So this is the niche that I'm in. Who am I looking to actually work with and attract? What do they look like? Whether it's an individual, if it's more of a business to business or business professional type of service or a product you have, or if it's business to business. So, who am I wanting to work with? What do they look like? What's their challenges? What's their fears? What's the problem I'm solving for them? So really evaluating your avatar through that. Then you go into T, which is targeting your traffic, because depending on who you're working with, different social platforms are going to be better for you to work with than others. So how do you target them? What are you doing to help them, which goes into the H, so help for free. So you want to always lead with value. So you want to help them for free. And that doesn't mean your services are free, but you want to add value initially to let people know that you are able to help them. That could be through a lead magnet where you're doing an ebook or something, or it could be a discovery call that you're getting them on the phone through and walking them through and strategizing with them and that sort of stuff to show your value. So help for free. And then you have the I, which is the immediate upsell. So you help for free, and then you move straight into offering them something, which a lot of people don't do. People are afraid. A lot of people still consider the word sell as a 4-letter word. It's like, oh, I can't sell. I'm not going to do that. I want people to throw their money at me, but you
Sure.
have, yeah, we'd love that, right? But
Right.
you have to offer something of value. So an immediate upsell. And then N, which is nurture your list. So this is nurturing your list, whether that's an email list or whether it's your audience that you have on a social platform, but you want to nurture that list and add value to them on a continual basis to let them know that you can help them. And then K is know your numbers. And this is where a lot of people fall short. They don't know their numbers. And there's, oh, it's not working. Well, how many, let's say, how many discovery calls have you had? Well, I've had 2. Well, you don't
That's why
have
it's not
enough.
working.
Yeah, exactly. It's why it's not working. You don't have enough numbers to really figure out what's working or not yet. And so knowing each, there's different numbers you need to be looking at, but knowing it's really important because then you know where to tweak things. And we're always telling people, remove the emotion from the numbers. Just look at the numbers for what the numbers are and let that guide your decision. So is it work? Are those numbers showing, once you have enough, are those numbers, is it working for me? Okay, if it is, how do I improve it? And you're always testing and just seeing if it works. So that's the Rethink method. And so we take people through that process and work with them on that to help them either start a business or people who are already in business to grow that online and through online marketing. So
I love it. You are speaking my language. I caught every single one of those pieces to rethink. And I was like, yes, that's important. Yes. And then finally you throw in the know your numbers. And to me, that is the biggest piece that's missed out. And to be able to put it into the online world of having enough data to make a decision is like, love this.
Yeah.
So, okay, Jason. So we're coming down towards the tail end of the podcast right now, and this has been some really valuable stuff. And this goes right to your giveaway for free, right? Do business for free and add tremendous value so your customer can experience you before they make a decision and know that they're gonna love what you're offering. Anything else that you want to share with us that might have some nuggets that the listeners can take away?
Um, Yeah, well, the main thing that I'd say around that, we can just talk 1 second about the know your numbers element as well. Have something to track this, and you probably preach this all the time, right? You've got to track stuff and see where those are. A lot of people, it's not fun, right? Having to
It's
track
eye-opening.
numbers.
It's looking at yourself in the mirror going, yeah, I have a big bump on my nose, right?
Yeah,
Or something. It's right there in front of you. And I think that's why people go, I don't want to
yeah.
see it.
Yeah, it's if I don't know it, then it's not a problem. and so they just keep on doing stuff. But if you embrace that and say, okay, let me understand my numbers, let me track this, because what you monitor and track it improves. Whether it's your
Hmm.
weight or your finances or whatever. If you're tracking that, you know what's going on with it, and you know where to improve things. You know what's not working and all that sort of stuff. So really, just know your numbers. It's big, and I know that's something, as you said, it's what you preach all the time. So you got to have it. You got to have it. So yeah, that's kind of what I'd sign off with, I guess, around that, and chat about kind of what we can do to help people as well.
Perfect. Yeah. So that was my next question. Where can people find out more information about you and Rethink Academy?
Yeah, sure. So for Rethink, if you go to rethinkgift.com, for all the you people watching, this book here, the Rethink social media book,
Ooh,
that Paul has written, who's the owner of the Rethink Academy. If you go to rethinkgift.com, you can download the first 4 chapters for free and start reading into that and really understanding
love it.
that. So that's that. And if people want to know more about me, you can go to LinkedIn, because it's what I do. I teach LinkedIn. So Jason A. Osborn on LinkedIn, people can find and could connect with me there. But definitely go to rethinkgift.com, and you can get those first 4 chapters.
Love it. Oh, such valuable information. You've given us a whole new outlook on what you should be doing when you're trying to attract more business. And every single business owner needs to be attracting more business, or their business is going to die. So I think that this
Absolutely.
was super valuable. So listeners, thanks for listening today. I hope you found an idea or 2 or 3 or 4 to put into your business today that will make you more profitable. As a special announcement, I wanted to let you know that I have this great thing coming up. Considering what's happened to businesses this year, I've decided to host 20 profit building experts together virtually on October 19th, 20th, and 21st this year. They'll all be sharing their best single strategy that will make 2020 more profitable and kickstart 2021. So I invite you all to get your free ticket and just go to bigprofitsummit.com to get that ticket. As always, and I'm sure Jason would love to hear any of your questions, feedback, or even ideas for future shows. So please subscribe and comment today on today's podcast. And as always, you can catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. And we're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks, Jason.
Cheers. Thank you.